Greetings. Today we would like to discuss a few things that have come up that need to be healed in the collective that has to do with emotions. This is a large subject, however, we would like to take steps in assisting you to begin to heal in small ways, and perhaps this method can be applied to the larger, more dense energies that arise once the initial smaller energies are healed. As we have stated in our previous transmission, this series of transmissions will be directed towards healing the many, and we will start here with the emotions. The energy of emotion within the human body is something that is created at a very young age with the growth of a human body, speech, and mind complex. While the infant is born, it is born with the divine spark of the Creator, or all that is, that consists within this one spark, the entire universe, and all of its knowledge and wisdom. This spark comes to the infant in the womb of the mother as she conceives the child during intercourse with her beloved. During this connection between the two partners, a third energy is created, and this spark is birthed, delivering the divine seed within the womb of the mother. At this stage, the spark of the Creator has entered into a new exploration of itself and has entered a third-dimensional plane of existence. As a prelude to this incarnation, there are certain conditions that are decided upon between the Creator and the seed that is being incarnated, and those conditions are determined as a plan for the experience during the impending incarnation. The parameters of the incarnation are potentials for the expansion, not only for the experience and expansion of the Creator, but the evolution of the soul wanting to have an experience within the third-dimensional plane of existence. One of the most important conditions for being introduced into the third-dimensional experience is the aspect of amnesia or forgetting. Whatever the stage of development of the soul prior to taking on this incarnation, whether it is an advanced soul or a young soul, it agrees to accept this aspect of amnesia for incarnation into the third dimension. What this means is that the commitment it has to living within the third-dimensional experience will be experienced as a completely new experience, without any idea of its past experience, should it have had such experiences, whether on the earth plane or on other planes of existence. With this knowledge, the soul then agrees to make the entry into the third-dimensional experience, thus beginning a new journey and experience. The architecture of the connection with the Creator, or all that is a silent connection through the higher self energies that are designed as a midway point, if you will, and is set up as a guiding force to ensure that the soul incarnating is within the parameters of the predestined plan for its incarnational experience. All opportunities will be afforded the soul to achieve its goal. However, the choice the individual makes within what is called a free will choice is key to understanding how a soul evolves. In every present moment, the incarnated soul makes a choice to do this or that, and whatever choice it makes, it is doing so under this free will principle. No choice is right or wrong. However, in the larger scale of things, as per its incarnational roadmap, these choices determine if it takes the easy or direct way back home, or a more scenic or harder path back home to achieve its destiny or purpose. Depending on the success of a soul's mission, destiny, or purpose, it will either completely achieve its mission, fail, or complete it on a scale between 1 and 100%. With all of this in mind, the soul makes the brave decision to incarnate and thus enters the womb of the family it has chosen to take on its incarnation. As the fetus grows within the mother's womb for the 9 months of incubation, the spark is feeling itself around and is only conscious of itself to the extent of what it senses around it, and this is mostly a sense of floating and the texture of fluid. After the birth, it is introduced into the third-dimensional environment of light, sound, and feeling, and then eventually the 5 senses come into its realization. During the first 7 years of development, the infant goes through a learning process of fine-tuning these senses and establishing itself as a human being. During this time, many children identify with their higher self and establish this higher connection with the Creator, or all that is, at a very early stage. They sometimes identify this energy as an invisible friend, or if they are hearing their higher self. You might find the infant talking to this energy while it engages with this energy. Whatever the case may be, the scale is infinite in the probability of whether or not the infant engages with all of its senses, whether in this dimension or the higher dimension. What is also developed during this stage are the subtle bodies, the mental body, the emotional body, the astral body, and the light body. As these subtle bodies develop, they form the outer layers to the more dense physical body, and so the physical body is encapsulated by an aura of the subtle bodies that are connected to the external atmosphere of the third-dimensional reality within which the child lives and breathes. As it interacts with its environment, it begins to form opinions about its surroundings, engaging with the humans and the objects around itself. It begins to define the polarity between the many things around itself, for example, hot and cold, quiet and loud, etc. As it begins to learn these differences, it goes through emotional changes. If, for example, the child is experiencing a quiet moment and it is suddenly startled by a loud noise, that polarity startles the child and causes its energy to shift swiftly, and it begins to cry. When this emotion is created, it feeds the emotional body, that is a subtle energy field around the existing aura surrounding the child. It then files away this emotion. When such an incident repeats itself, the child remembers this emotion and picks it up from the emotional field and replicates that feeling, and perhaps expands or relives that emotion once again. In this way, its repertoire of emotions begins to expand as it progresses through life, experiencing sorrow, pain, happiness, joy, etc., etc. When the child becomes an adult, it has already collected a lot of emotions within its emotional field, and so it can trigger any one of these emotions during its daily life. In a healthy body, speech, and mind complex, during the growth of a human, all emotions it encounters, whether dense or light, happy or sad, any emotion that enters into the emotional field are experienced, acknowledged, processed, and released into the larger universal field around it. If this is done accurately as designed by the Creator, or all that is, there is a balance established within the human being's field of energy or aura. If the individual clings onto a particular emotional state and nurtures any aspect of the emotion it went through, then remnants of that emotional state will remain within the emotional field and in a way fester as unhealed or unresolved emotions. Along with the emotion, thoughts and ideas around that which took place are stored with it as a package of emotional trauma. This can be harmful not only to the physical body, but also to the well-being of the entire being. As this trauma compounds over time, it becomes bigger, taking up space within the emotional field, around the body, and sometimes within the physical body. Many of these energy packages develop into disease within the physical body. Other imbalances are experienced as emotional trauma or blockages and can manifest in many forms within one's relationship, not only with yourself, but with others. They can manifest as fear of certain things, and so in this way the mind develops around these emotions and sets up a foundation of false or misaligned energies that are not in perfect harmony or alignment with the body, speech, and mind complex. Please know that there is nothing wrong or right with any of this, for the human is here on this plane of existence to experience a myriad things, and these energies are a part of the evolutionary process. It is all part of the growing experience. As one evolves into an adult, you again make choices upon what path you may take in your life, and depending on your environment, your social or parental guidance, you make choices for how you would like to live your life, and so you move through life with or without the emotional baggage that you have learned to carry with you from your childhood. The alchemy of removing and clearing these emotions and learning from this is the offering of ascension in one aspect, and this is to evolve from this place of stunted growth, to move past these emotional barriers, to come out on the other side, healed from this and in balance with your higher self energies, and thus engaging with the Creator and the energy of all that is. We will speak of this alchemy in another transmission. For now, we ask you to sit in quiet meditation whenever you get a chance, and try to bring up or engage with the emotions lodged within your emotional body. You might begin by engaging with this energy and something that happened quite recently, whether it was an angry or happy emotion. Allow for this energy to come into your focus and try to get a sense of the extent of it by reliving the emotion once again in your mind and body. As you do this, try to remain as an observer of this emotion, not attaching any more attention to the emotion playing out. Just observe and mentally acknowledge it in all its shape and form. Once the emotion has played out in front of you, allow for your energy to breathe and mentally release it from your body, acknowledging the lesson for whatever it was, and allow for it to dissolve into the outer edges of your field. Imagine the emotion dissolving like a mist or smoke. Whatever the emotion, the memory of it will always remain within the confines of your brain. However, it will not remain as an emotional baggage, so to speak, within your emotional field. And so if it were a happy memory and you feel that in releasing it you will lose it for good, this is not the case. Do not attach yourself to this energy. Allow for it to be released from your body. The memory of it will always remain within your Akashic field or your universal storage memory bank, always available for you to retrieve. The difference being is that you will retrieve it as a pure memory from the memory bank and not from your emotional field, without the emotional baggage attached to it, causing harm to your body, speech, and mind complex. We will close now and hope that you are able to use this practice to clear your energy field of unnecessary emotions that you carry with you, whether small or large, light or dense. As you continue to do these exercises, you will feel lighter and more in tune with the higher energies, and the connection with your higher self will become more clear for engagement, and thus interaction with the Creator and all that is much more pristine. Blessings.